though Roblox Doors has been out for a couple of months now, and with folks patiently waiting for the brand new update, there's been many new facts regarding about the game. These are 15 secret Doors facts that I bet you never even knew about the game. Do you know even more? Comment some down below and let's learn some more about the game. Number 1, most people already know about the hidden void area that is found within the reception room, and it even plays a weird chime theme as well. But Redibles, the co-developer for Doors, have even said that it is possible for players to get into the void area without using hacks or even exploits. I guess it's a new mystery for us to solve in the future. Number 2, every entity within the game has a name based on what they primarily do. Rush, for example, rushes. Ambush, well, he ambushes multiple times, but these names are actually not officially named by the developers at all. They have stated that the entities' names have been named by the community and not by them. For all we know, Timothy's name might not actually be Timothy at all, which would honestly be quite worrying. Number 3, with 100 rooms in every game within Roblox Doors, many would think that they are 100 uniquely made generated rooms, but you'd be wrong in that case. After taking a peek within the Doors classified files, we found that there are actually 47 rooms currently found within the game, and this does include several newer rooms snuck into quiet updates throughout the weeks. Number 4, a bit surprising, but it looks like there was yet another item that was also deleted early on from the game, as stated by Redibles once again. Fun fact, the first item to be added to Doors was back then, and it was called Among Us Potion. And it looked like a Terraria Lesser Healing Potion, and it healed you. Eventually, these were replaced with bandages that you can find within drawers in the game, as it, well, just made more sense, I'd assume. Number 5, the unused song called Stress is still deep within the game's files, as the developers simply forgot to remove it from the game. Redibles did state that it was an official soundtrack made for a different old prototype game during pre-alpha testing, possibly even being the old song to the old Seek. Honestly sounds a lot scarier, especially if you put it over the current version of the chase. Number 6, only accessible with cheats, but apparently underneath the whole entire lobby, there is a rogue elevator that is simply floating in the middle of the void. Some would say that this is the true spawning point for the game, where it loads you into a match, but it is unclear why it's only at one point of the entire lobby, instead of having all of them placed underneath the others. Number 7, the library is also known as one of the hardest parts in the whole game, especially for newer and less experienced players. But these books that we have to obtain in order to gather the code for the locked door does have their own sets of tricks. Apparently, Redibles has stated that the library puzzle was set up in a way specifically in order to give you the useless books first, slowing players down in order to make them stay in the room longer. Quite a play by the developers on that note, not going to lie. Number 8, if a rush or ambush ever spawns within the library in non-organic means, they will actually travel up and down through every corridor of the bookshelves as a workable path, instead of just going right through the entire library. It's why if one ever spawns in here, you'd probably be hiding inside the wardrobe for a pretty long time, especially since there are lots of paths that these entities have to take within a large room. Number 9, especially with many people still being frustrated with the difficulty of the library, Redibles has given us a hint within the next upcoming hotel update for the game, and yes, it does involve with the library as well. They stated back in October that this update will provide some useful tools for beating it a little bit easier. Now, what could these new tools be? I guess we'd have to wait in order to find out, but this radio in the plushie giveaway announcement video could be a hint, especially when Figure can only rely on listening. Number 10, posted recently, there are still many mysteries that surround the infamous Windows entity, especially with the biggest question being whether or not this entity would ever have a function within the game instead of just standing there and staring at players. Wowzers, the creator of Sally aka Windows, actually replied to a comment regarding this, simply saying maybe. Hopefully we can see some use come for Windows as soon as this next update. Number 11, we all know Seek at this point, especially when he rises from the ground in order to commence the big chase. But the entity does have a very unique scream that is different to all the others. Yeah, that one. Apparently, according to Redables, Seek's scream is not necessarily a scream, more just a guttural-like noise that it makes probably by manipulating itself in some way. I don't really want to know how exactly he makes that sound, but it makes sense considering the entity doesn't even have a mouth to begin with. Redables even referenced this saying that it could make one if it really wanted to, surprisingly enough. Number 12, possibly an update hint, but apparently Rush is not immortal, and it is possible to actually oof the entity if one ever so desires. And no, I'm not talking about using the crucifix on Rush. That's a whole different story. A player had a bizarre question whether or not Rush has a working circulatory system, assuming if Rush is actually an animal more than a ghost. And Redables did respond to this saying that if Rush bleeds, then players can actually kill it, though they've never seen it actually happen. Perhaps this could be a reference for a future update, especially as a way to combat against the entity. Number 13, Wowzers was in charge for creating most of the 2D entities that we know, such as Rush, Ambush, and Jet. But a good question is, how long did it take the artist to create these entities? Was it hard in order to do so? Well, apparently, it took the artist literally under a day in order to complete each one. Not bad at all in order to create some truly scary monsters. Number 14, everybody knows how annoying Screech could be, but for Redables, it was apparently much worse than that. The design origin for Screech was made actually just a week before the game's release, as Redables tweeted that he had modeled entirely out of a nightmare, with the difference being it had way more arms in the dream. No wonder why Screech looks like he comes from a fear factory. Also, you know about that famous psst sound too as well? Well, that was also confirmed to come from Red's nightmare too. Number 15, again with the famous Screech. This sound could have been created by the lead developer Splash, as Redables did state that they remember Splash making the sound, but were not positive. Bonus fact, if you like and subscribe, you'd be able to play the Doors update early. It's coming soon before you even know.